Hi, everyone. This is Amy Sattinger. I'm Astro Coach Amy. I'm excited to be here with you on my third YouTube show. And I'm very excited to have a wonderful guest with me, Roland Takaoka. Are you there, Roland?
Yes, I am. I am prepared to speak right then, so I had my mic muted.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah, Roland has been my esteemed business mentor. He's been my internet marketing coach. He's a dear friend, and he is also graciously training me on YouTube. So I'm especially thankful that he's here with us today. Well, today, the question of the day is, what is an eclipse? And how often does it occur? And there are two types of eclipses. Most of you have probably heard the terms solar eclipse, which occurs at the new moon, and the lunar eclipse, which occurs at the full moon. And we've actually had a very unusual cycle where we actually had our first lunar eclipse actually August 18th. And one of the reasons I wanted to do the broadcast today is we have our third eclipse, which is also a lunar eclipse around our full moon, which is actually next Thursday, which will be September 16th. It's an important cycle. It's actually helping us catalyze a whole new chapter for all of us. And I felt it was worth talking about today. And I thought it might be a topic that Roland would enjoy as well. So just a brief view. I think many of you have heard the words eclipse before, but the solar eclipse at the new moon, which we had on September 1st, when I actually had my broadcast last week on Mercury retrograde, is actually the new moon. The solar eclipse is actually when the moon passes in front of the sun. It blocks it out partially or completely. And what happens is the eclipse only occurs in part of the Earth. There isn't a total eclipse in the whole Earth, but it usually happens in different parts of the world. Now, the lunar eclipse, of course, is the opposite. It occurs at the full moon when the tides, of course, are high. And that's when the moon passes directly behind the Earth and it goes into its shadow. And this is when basically that's what we call the lunar eclipse. Now, what's special about this particular eclipse, which is next week, is I know a lot of you have heard the terms partial eclipse, full eclipse, or there's another one called the penumbral eclipse. It's kind of a big word there. But basically, that is a special time. Again, the eclipse is only going to be viewed this time. It won't be in this part of the world that we can actually see it. It's actually going to be seen in Europe and Asia, in parts of Australia and parts of Africa. But what's special about this eclipse, and one of the reasons I wanted you to have this week to prepare and really utilize this energy, is that the penumbral eclipse is very special because the sun, the earth, and the moon, they're all going to align. It's almost like a straight line, and that's very unusual. And when this time occurs, the earth blocks some of the sun's light that would normally basically light up the moon. And I know some of you can see, if we were in that part of the world, we'd be able to see part of this eclipse. So it's special, but it's more important than just the astronomical event. And that's what I'm here to talk about. And then I've asked Roland also to join me a little bit in a couple of questions. So there is the impact in the heavens, and for some people, it's almost an eerie feeling because an eclipse covers things. Things are blocked, and then they need to come to light. And part of my interest in doing the show on the third eclipse is the lunar eclipse is when a lot of things open up, and some we don't even expect. So the big question is, why is it important to you as a person? why does it matter besides that it's interesting or unusual in the heavens? So that's what we're really looking at today. The eclipse symbolizes a change. It's a catalyst. They occur every 6 months they occur. And it's interesting, if you look back in your life 6 months ago, there are certain things that were triggered by those eclipses, that solar and lunar eclipse. And now it's 6 months later, and some of those things have come to fruition. They've manifested in the material world. Some of them might have created a change in you emotionally or mentally, or maybe even some of your thoughts and ideas. So the idea is, how can we be proactive? How can we use this unusual time to our best and highest good, so that truly we can become our greatest selves? Now, our eclipse next week, the sun, again in Western sidereal astrology, which I've talked about a little bit with you, which is the ancient way that we recorded the movement of the heavenly bodies through looking at the constellations and the stars. Rather than popular astrology might say that the signs are a little bit different, and that's completely fine. But with the sun in the fire sign of Leo, it means that there's a part of us that just wants to express, we want to have more fun, we want to know that people love us, but we also need a lot of acknowledgement. And some people really need to know that people think highly of them. They want to make sure that they're able to be creative and people can hear them and see them for what they're doing. However, the full moon is about the balance. The moon will be in the air sign of Aquarius, and it's the opposite of Leo. Rather than looking for acknowledgement, the moon in Aquarius is more humanitarian based. It's interested in helping the planet. It's interested in contribution, not just about them, but about being a good messenger. So they want to contribute, and they'd like to be noticed for the contribution, but they feel that's more important than it be just about them. So the big question is, how do we balance these two energies? And we're going to have some time to prepare. Although the eclipse is next Thursday, we will start to feel that energy starting to intensify probably by Tuesday, which is actually the 14th. And we'll probably feel this till 2 to 3 days after the eclipse, which might be the 18th or 19th. So this is where I was going to ask Roland, if he has his question for us, because we're going to get into a little more depth. And then Roland and I are going to get to have a little aha moment. And I'm going to get to tell you about my eclipse that just happened today. So Roland, what's your question for me?
It's not specific, because listening to you tell about this and experiencing what we have been, you individually and me individually, plus what we're doing together, has put some different lights on this whole thing. But one thing that I would say would be a tendency is that during the lunar eclipse period, it would be, people have a tendency to be superstitious, and so that they are looking at it from a standpoint of what the world is doing to them. And I want to make sure that we're thinking of this from the standpoint of the energy is the energy, and the experiences are the experiences. And really what's key in the discussion is what you can hand us that is an insight or insights that help us maneuver from this point onward, and not thinking about what the world is trying to do to us or prepare for our demise, or this type of thing. And so I want to keep it from being superstitious. But I was really stunned by the concept of the lunar eclipse and the alignment of the sun, earth, and moon. And all these things are definitely having some effect on our experiences. But mainly, what I want to do back to the general question of what is the true significance of this alignment and this lunar eclipse that's coming up Thursday, and how do we apply this to what's going on in our lives and what we're experiencing.
Okay, so thank you, Roland. Thank you for your feedback. So this is a really important time, everyone, to look at yourself. As Roland mentioned, I am a spiritual astrologer, so there isn't much room in my practice for superstition. I appreciate people may go there, but most of them are not viewing my show. This is really talking about some of the cosmic energies and how they impact us individually and also as a global community. So first, we're obviously looking at individually because we are all first focused on ourselves. That's called human nature. So that's one of the reasons I'm saying about the preparation for this. And I will just say as an aha moment and probably some humor now, earlier today, I went to my website to look for some information about the eclipse that I'd written in one of my written blogs. I couldn't get into it. And I spoke with Roland, and it basically turned out that the data in my website had all been, there had been a virus. And let's say my website got the flu and it got infected and the whole thing was destroyed. So I crashed and burned a little while ago. And I said, well, how perfect to have an eclipse. Basically, my website has been shadowed. And Roland has been encouraging me to do a digital blog and do shows, which I've been wanting to do. And fortunately, this is my third one, and how perfect it's on the eclipse, because now I'm going to be recreating my website, thanks to Roland's help. But it's going to be digital. My written blog is going to be a thing of the past, and eventually you'll get to read my ebooks. They will be coming. So it's been quite an afternoon, to say the least. I'm going to use that as an example. It's really an important example. And just 6 months ago, I actually began a big career change in addition to my astrology. And I only say that in that these times in a bigger picture are really important to see how many places in our life we resist change. Emotionally, any kind of limiting beliefs we have, if there are old conflicts or fears that we are holding within our mind or our hearts, it didn't matter if it was a resentment towards someone, if it was something about an institution or an experience in your business, in your job. What's really important about these eclipses is they tend to liberate us whether we want it or not. They're going to free us from things that were limiting us and opening up new chapters. And a lot of us know as we resist, what we resist persists. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to master this all perfectly, and it doesn't mean that I was dancing with joy the minute this thing happened with my website. I'm happy to say I did recover in about 20 minutes, which is pretty fast. But here's what I do want to say. Many spiritual teachers and also other astrologers have said that a portal has opened for the next 5 years. We are going to be seeing many things come to the surface, both in politics and the economy. On the global level, none of us are naive in thinking that everything is going to stay the same. What's really important right now is that we don't use that as a way to get negative and to escape from our own need to transform. Because this is a time when those of us that are looking to contribute are needed a great deal. And we need everyone's contribution more than ever right now. I just can't stress how important that is. It's a valuable time. And it's a time when there's going to be miracles and solutions that you never thought possible. And those are some of the things I want to focus on. Now, with the sun in Leo, as I said, it's fiery. it's me, it's wanting to express, it's wanting love. All those are very positive things. The question is, how can you share those? And with the moon in Aquarius during this important time, it isn't just that one day. Where in your life can you practice more equanimity? Where can you have more balance? Instead of feeling that you're out of control emotionally, where are the places when you can safely express it? And also look around you to see who else you can serve and who else you can contribute and help them. So Roland, are you curious about what you might need to do right now to prepare some things, maybe some tips and ideas of how you can prepare for this?
Well, for one thing, I'm just looking at the model of what you have demonstrated, and that for the news that you got regarding your website, you have recovered tremendously, and I'm really proud of you, because it's like a transformation in itself. But some things occurred to me that people are looking at this energy, this high energy thing, and there's a tug of war between what we're trying to achieve, what we feel like we need, and what we feel like our mission is and our offer to the universe at the same time. And it occurs to me that Zig Ziglar and a lot of the all-time greats focus on giving to others as the source of the flow of energy for us. And so the thought came to me that we should really take a look at what we feel our needs are, and we should give what we want to receive, and use that as a premise. And then as we're doing that, we're going to discover that other people have their needs too. We should help them out as best we can along the way. But if we give what we want to receive, then what goes around comes around, and of course we're feeding ourselves in the process. So
Thank you.
So it's kind of like an interesting revelation that I had listening to you right now.
Thank you, Roland. And you've been one of my greatest teachers at reminding me that, and I also personally have great regard for Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, some of these greats who have really inspired me much of my adult life as well. And I really do look at how I can contribute and what can I do to make a difference. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons I decided to do the show and do a quick recovery, that a website's only a website. You're still welcome to email me. You're welcome to text me. But most important is really to get the message out to all of you. And what I'd like to do is encourage you to think about ways to prepare. Again, we're not just talking about a day. One of the whole reasons I'm doing this YouTube show is not just to teach you to be astrologers, is to teach you how to use this energy in ways that will uplift you so you really can function as your greatest self each and every day, because you're needed. There are some really important things going on this year. And as you can change within yourself in your little microcosm and have a better day, doesn't mean you won't tell the truth about things, but you can make an enormous difference in yourself and in those around you. So I'd like to talk a little bit now before we do complete our broadcast today, and what are some ways you can prepare for this upcoming time, because this is the end of this eclipse cycle for 6 months. So I'm going to mention a few of these things, and of course it's up to you to do what you like with them, but I do encourage you to consider them. So the first one is, since we do have some time, today is only Thursday, and we're saying that this is not going to occur for another week, the 16th. So one of the important things then would be some quiet time, some reflective time. And how you do that is certainly up to you. But I do encourage that for everyone now, as things are speeding up, that you do take that time every day. How you accomplish that is up to you, but I think it's really important. So I encourage you to have that time. I also encourage you, if you're willing, to have some kind of a journal or some way that you can reflect on your changes. If you're someone that doesn't like to write, that's fine. You can do it in cartoons. You can do it by making voice memos to yourself. But what's really important is to see, how have you changed since yesterday? How have you changed since the last set of eclipses 6 months ago? What are you doing to create more joy for yourself and others since this last 6-month period? Since the eclipse sets the tone, not only emotionally, but it also sets the tone for your health. So it's wonderful to take a reflection even of, or reflect upon, your health habits. And I'm going to be talking in a future show actually about Jupiter and Virgo. It's just gone into the earth sign of Virgo, and we're going to be talking about health and routine and different ways you can enjoy yourself. So that's coming up. But what I really encourage is, in this next week, how can you take better care of yourself and your routine? Whether that's hydrate, eat healthy, get some movement. And in the world of communication, if there are things that need to be expressed, please share them. Try not to do it by text. Please try to do it in a way that you can reach someone humanly. I think it will probably be received a little better, even if it's by telephone, if the person lives far away, or video. Please try to share what's in your heart, because this eclipse is going to move that energy, and it's going to serve you, even though it feels like a shadow and it feels sometimes unknown and dark. But this eclipse can be a great friend or your worst enemy, depending on your attitude of gratitude. So I certainly encourage you to make it your best friend. But I do encourage you to find some ways to get your yayas out and exercise and move, because you're going to feel more energy. Those of you that have access to some kind of energy work or body work, I encourage you to get that taken care of. And to see that you're a wonderful human being. This is definitely not a week to overweek and be a human doing and then pop your corks out next Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't think it'll make for a good day for you or those around you. So, Roland, do you have any final thoughts? Because we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to just have my last 2 words in once you do that.
I think that you pretty much encapsulated what I wanted to know about the lunar eclipse. And it's very interesting stuff going on right now. So I'm just glad to go along for the ride and have a few insights as to how I can improve what I'm doing by listening to you, and it's been very, very helpful. So thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much, Roland. I appreciate your feedback. And as I mentioned to you, since my website is right now in the process of an eclipse and it's enjoying it, I would love to hear from you. Please do it via email, since I'm still using Amy at astrocoachamy.com. You're welcome to call me or text me at my cell, which is here on the screen. And I really look forward to your feedback. We're going to be doing a future show on Jupiter and Virgo, since it is a 1-year cycle. I thought it'd be great to talk about that. And I'd love to get some feedback from you. I want to have some little educational, we're going to be doing some fun shows about what does it mean to have your moon or sun in this place. We're going to be talking about lots of interesting things over the weeks that pass. But I want to thank you for being here with myself and Roland as my dear guest. I want to wish you a smooth and joyful eclipse, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much.